Good day. Welcome to PHI 204, Medieval Philosophy. Study Session 1. The Development of Christian Thoughts. Introduction. In this study, you will learn about the rise of Christianity as a significant turning point in the history of philosophy. More importantly, we shall discuss the happy coexistence between the Greeks' love of wisdom and the scriptural teachings of the Christian faith. It is common knowledge that the primary objective of philosophical knowledge is truth, and that is why it is sometimes referred to as the science of truth. The gospel also presents itself as the word of truth regarding man, the world, and God. A look at these two sources of knowledge will no doubt reveal the philosophical potential of the Christian faith is immense. Learning outcomes. At the end of this study session, you should be able to state two primary concerns of Christianity in the first century of its existence. State two differences between the Greek tradition and the Judeo-Christian thoughts. Explain what the Christian message is all about. And lastly, describe why Christians felt the need for universal evangelism in the first century. The early stages. Differences between the Greek tradition and the Christian thoughts. At the infant stage of the development of Christian thoughts, there exist many differences between the Greek tradition and the Judeo-Christian thoughts, and even between Jewish and Christian thoughts. In their religious belief, practices, and traditions, the Greeks were mainly polytheists, while on the contrary, the Jews and the Christians believed in one supreme omnipotent and omniscient God. The Greek gods were subject to lots of limitations. In Plato, for instance, we see the demiurge consult the pre-existing forms proud to imposing order on the pre-existing matter. Although not transcendent, Aristotle's deity was immanent in the world. On the contrary, the God of the Judeo-Christian tradition is all-powerful and transcendent. Out of nothing, he created the world and rules over it according to his sovereign will. Christianity presents itself as a revealed religion. Building on their Hebraic roots, Christians claim that God has spoken and revealed himself to us through the Old Testament prophets, in the person of Jesus of Nazareth, and in the Gospels and Epistles of the New Testament. Unlike the Greeks, who sought for truth and ultimate reality, the Christian message is that of truth and ultimate reality. While ancient Greeks put a premium on the Logos as the principle of order and reason that permeates the universe, John in his Gospel stresses the view that the Logos is identical to God, who took on a human form, Jesus, and dwelled amongst us. Hence, Christian thinkers conceive human history in terms of the themes of sin, grace, salvation, and eternal life. Although not as series of philosophical doctrines, but as moments in the individual spiritual journey. Inasmuch as many Christian intellectuals attempted to show their faith stand with the best of Greek philosophy, they did not share the Greeks' confidence that philosophical reason alone could solve the deep problems of human life. In the first century of its existence, Christianity wrestled with some prime concerns, which thus left little time and energy for philosophical speculation. Christians were in earnest, waiting and preparing for the second coming of Jesus. The early Christians, especially as expressed in the writings of Paul, were of the belief that Jesus' second coming was near at hand. Thus, due to the shortness of time, they gave no value to earthly possessions or engaging in long-term intellectual activities. In addition, the early church was under serious persecution from the Romans, and its major obsession was how to survive the pressure of the time. The Romans believed that religion was a concern of states, and that citizens were subject to and should make sacrifices to the gods of the state for the country to have peace and prosper. In addition to their refusal to pay homage to the pagan gods, Christians proclaim Christ, not the emperor, as Lord of all the earth. Therefore, in the Roman Empire, to be a Christian was both treason and a capital crime. Inasmuch as the intensity of the persecution was dependent on the person of the emperor at a particular point in time, it was until the reign of Constantine the Great, AD 305 to 337, that the Christian world knew peace. Inasmuch as the intensity of the persecution was dependent on the person of the emperor at a particular point in time, it was until the reign of Constantine the Great, AD 305 to 337, that the Christian world knew peace. By AD 313, Constantine made Christianity an official religion of the empire, granting Christians the freedom to publicly profess their faith. Christians' quest for universal evangelism and its challenges. At this period, Christians were propelled by an urgent need for universal evangelism, the propagation of the good news of Jesus Christ, and the salvation of souls by reconciling them to God. This made it impossible for them to promote a set of theoretical ideas or have interest in theoretical speculations. Another problem Christians were facing at this period was the rapid proliferation of heresies, that is, false doctrine teachings, and the need to fight these heresies. There were many alternative versions of Christian teaching, with each claiming to be the authentic version of Christian truth. As a matter of fact, some of these were really Greek religious philosophies that were given a Christian veneer. Others were simply alternative interpretations of the New Testament theology. The result was a massive confusion that threatened to drag the new religion down with the weight of controversy. Despite these challenges, it was apparent to Christians that they could neither reject nor ignore philosophy. With the passage of several generations, it became obvious and clear to Christians that the second coming of Jesus Christ was not imminent. Therefore, Christians began to be involved in other serious activities, especially in the Christianization of their culture. Most significant of these developments was the distancing of Christianity from its Jewish background. As a result, there was a shift. Rather than the reconciliation of Christianity with Judaism, Christianity sought reconciliation with the Greek tradition. By the end of the 2nd century, Christianity had penetrated the upper classes and began to attract intellectuals in the Roman Empire, whose mind had been nurtured in the soil of Greek philosophy. Thus, Christian thinkers came to terms with the Greek ways of thinking by formulating their doctrines in the categories of Greek philosophy and by showing that their faith was intellectually respectable. Hence, the prime and original task of evangelization was supplemented by that of apologetics. Apologetics is a term derived from Athenian legal procedures. It refers to one's position. Because Christianity was on trial before the court of Greek culture and philosophy, Christian thinkers sought to make the best case possible for it, using the weapons of philosophy itself. Similarly, since many of the heresies arose out of philosophy, Christian thinkers discovered they needed to fight fire with fire. Hence, the task of rebutting false doctrines required both logical arguments and a greater clarification of the true teachings. With the hope of supporting their positions and achieving conceptual results, Christian thinkers adopted the tools of Greek philosophies. Factors responsible for the Christian propagation of evangelism. Box A. Propagation of the good news. Box B. To prevent the proliferation of heresies. It is important to note that although Christianity and Greek thought they were like strange bedfellows at the early part of their development, they later saw the need to complement each other in order to present a robust view of their tenets of the society. Thus, it is in this light that Christianity sought reconciliation with the Greek tradition. Study session summary. In this study session, you have learned that the rise of Christianity is a significant turning point in the history of philosophy. Christianity has contributed immensely to world history. 2. In the first century of its existence, Christianity wrestled with some prime concerns, which thus left little time and energy for philosophical speculation. For instance, the early church was under serious persecution from the Romans, who believed that religion was a concern of the state and that citizens were subject to and should make sacrifices to the gods of the state. Lastly, even in the face of numerous challenges, Christian thinkers came to terms with the Greek ways of thinking by formulating their doctrines in the categories of Greek philosophy and by showing that their faith was intellectually respectable. End of study session 1. Thank you for listening.